I had actually wanted to do a video about Frank Tufano and his delusion about the New World Order and Joe Biden being a fake Joe Biden or something like that. And, the vegan conspiracy. But my conscience took the better of me, or conscience, I should say. And I was in an argument with a moron who can't grasp that the only fascist country, well, Austria was fascist until Hitler overthrew fascist Austria to unite Austria and Germany into one country, which many people don't know, that Mussolini came very close to going to war with Germany in the beginning of World War II due to National Socialism's attack on fascist Austria. So there were two fascist countries in the history of this world, but one was extremely short-lived, and that would be fascist Austria. However, I got in an argument with a complete idiot that didn't believe me that, National Socialism is not fascist, and fascism is different than National Socialism. So this led me to and this dude who calls himself Barack Obama, who makes you know that he's a pathetic Trump supporter, a weak-minded, feeble-minded, loser, pathetic idiot that supported that mess that destroyed this country for 4 years. Okay, so that lets you know how politically illiterate this son of a gun is. And I'm trying to watch my mouth, that's why I said son of a gun. But, I mean, seriously, you have to take into consideration how politically illiterate the average American and now the average citizen of the world is. I want to give a shout out, actually, to a guy, Sergey at Yoshanka Show, who does actually pretty excellent videos on what it's like growing up in the Soviet Union. And it's interesting because I started considering the reality of how conservative and, and truly fascistic Leninism and Stalinism was a long time ago. But like many third positionists, I did not want to accept it because, you consider it to be the ultimate evil, okay? However, we have to remember that Socialist Germany and Socialist USSR were united briefly until Stalin backstabbed the leader of Socialist Germany. But my point is this. What I call communism with US features would obviously take more of a form similar to fascist Italy, being that both the United States and fascist Italy were based on a Roman structure, a Roman Republican structure, not a democratic structure, but a Roman Republican structure. So both a communistic United States and fascist Italy would take the appearance more of a fascist Roman Republic, a Roman Republican outlook, because that is the basis of both countries. But the reason why I'm doing this is because I've touched on a lot of this in the past, and I'm going to leave links to this. Everything that has moved the United States forward has come from socialism. Whether it's the railways and the expansion of the railways, or whether it's the park services and the conservation of natural resources, public education, going back to Benjamin Franklin and public libraries and public fire departments. It has always been socialism that has moved this country forward. The technological age was pushed forward by socialism under the public funding of the Department of Defense. We get ARPANET, the internet. We get the space program, which has matured into what it is. We get the Genome Project. We get the Mind Project, I think it was called, under Barack Hussein Obama. And you have to remember, you can't put these things on the presidents that are the presidents at the time. Technology actually flows independent of the presidency. Like when Trump tried to take credit for the breakthroughs in cancer treatments and the NIH put him in his place. because Trump cut funding to the NIH. My point is that anything that has moved this country forward is socialistic, if you actually look at it. Or more so fascistic in a sense, because it's the corporations being forced or at least encouraged to contribute to the public good through public incentives with taxpayers' money. So it's an investment by the people in the people. Okay? So to go further, we see that this is the nature of what has moved the United States forward. We also see that when things get bad, what happens? We embrace communitarianism. I'm lucky enough that both of my grandfather served in Germany in World War II. He served in the European theater in World War II. He served in the Korean War, and he served in Vietnam, 3 wars. But I got to hear from my grandmother the amount of communitarianism, communal cooperation that took place on the home front to make the war effort a possibility. Not unlike the things that the Germans implemented to save Germany from the Depression. You keep in mind, the German economic system that the NSDAP implemented saved Germany from the Depression without a single shot being fired. Meaning, without a war, Germany came out from the Depression due to communitarianism. Communitarianism is basically the cooperation of the community for the benefit of the whole community. And that's kind of what National Socialism was. The NSDAP embraced communitarianism. That's kind of what fascism is. More or less, that's kind of what communism is, but in a bigger sense. So what I'm saying is, what people have to grasp is, we sacrifice far less values embracing communism with U.S. features than we do embracing Caitlyn Jenner or any of this hogwash coming out of the Republican Party. I do think that if this would be to be explored, it should be explored as a political action committee, not a party. That way it can work at infiltrating both parties with an intelligentsia. Both the Republican and the Democratic Party, the two main parties, and to push that agenda. Ideologically speaking, I've talked great at length about Juche, the Juche ideology. I've talked at length about the need for something similar to cosmism, Soviet cosmism. The United States has these things. We have ideologies that embrace this. We have these strong ideologies. Liberty would, of course, be championed under a communistic U.S. Type system. But the thing is, we have ideas. We have our own physical culture ideas, like the Soviet Union did. We have cosmotheism, Dr. Pierce's cosmotheism. We can borrow from the melting pot eugenics of La Raza Cosmica, Jose Vasconcelos's La Raza Cosmica. We have the food sciences of people like George Washington Carver, Adele Davis, Dr. Robert C. Atkins, and we have this going forward with the embrace of veganism. One of the things in Frank Tufano's little ranty tant is that Biden is trying to make everybody go vegan. Biden is not trying to make anyone go vegan. Biden, I guarantee you, is certainly not going vegan. What they're doing is they're trying to latch on to what they think is popular, which they think is plant-based diets. They're trying to win votes by making people following plant-based diets feel smart. What they don't understand, which I do because I actually follow a strict vegetarian diet, meaning no animal products go into my body unless it's a minor amount of gelatin or something in a supplement. What they don't understand is most people that embrace veganism or similar lifestyles do it for like a day and then they don't do it. And that's why everybody thinks veganism doesn't work, because nobody implements it properly. Which is why I personally went back to embracing a vegan Atkins diet, what's charmingly called the Eco Atkins diet, which I will leave a link to a playlist about in the description of this video, which is a highly nutrient-dense vegan diet. Now, a vegan diet would be very nationalistic. As many people know, Plato promoted vegetarianism in the Republic to better feed the people. The Chancellor of Germany, when Germany was a socialistic powerhouse that pulled itself out of the Depression, I'm not going to name names here, not naming names, but we know he was an ethical vegetarian. We know he promoted ethical vegetarianism, and we know that he wanted, if Germany had won the Second World War, wanted to make Germany a vegetarian country. Not naming names, I think we know who he was. Let's not name names. But my point is how does ethical veganism, and I don't think it should be imposed by the government, but how does ethical veganism help to spur nationalism and communitarianism? Land use. That was a big thing in this country under the progressive movement, and also in Germany and the USSR. Responsible land use. Meat. The production of meat is irresponsible. A lot of the production of meat consumed in the United States has caused the destruction of the Amazon rainforest in Brazil. It's caused the destruction of our land in this country, and animal waste and the organic waste put out by animals is very detrimental to the environment, to human health, and to the health of wildlife. So it would help with more responsible land use. We could reforest large swaths of land that have been used for grazing. We could also use that land that is being used to raise crops to feed cattle. We could use to raise soybeans, grains, and other foods to feed humans. We could start cell-cultured meat to feed humans. So there's a lot of that involved. There's also a lot of ethics and humane treatment of our non-human animal co-inhabitants of the planet. Environmentally speaking, veganism is a big deal. I don't believe in the whole CO2 thing. I'm actually a firm believer in the need for CO2, in the need for more CO2, and the fact that CO2 has caused an agricultural boom and will cause a forestation boom if we allow it. I also believe in the importance of retaining phytoplankton. My point is that veganism, ethical veganism, done properly, should be one arm of a physical culture aspect of the overall personal nationalistic ideology of communism with U.S. features. As Jack LaLanne, another American, once said, nutrition and exercise, one is king, one is queen, you put them together, you got a kingdom. Well, one is Lady Liberty and the other is the scales of justice, and you put them together and you get a republic. That's how it works. I mean, you got to put it together. Being healthy is a patriotic and nationalistic act. Retaining your health, youth, and vigor is a nationalistic act. And that's what people need to understand. That's all for my rant in this video, but you just got to take into consideration the amount of political illiteracy of the average American and the average imbecile on the internet, particularly the Trumpeteers and the Nancy Pelosiites and all these wackadoodles that populate cyberspace. Which, by the way, as much as they like to say that DARPA is evil, are taking advantage of DARPA manufactured technology. The beauty of the internet, which I'm using now to communicate with you, comes from socialism. It comes from the Department of Defense, which benefited us. A lot of things have come from the Department of Defense. Maybe I'll make a list someday and just do a video of all the wonderful things that came from the Department of Defense. Okay? And as I said, you know, I do plan on doing a video about George Washington Carver. There's not enough videos expressing gratitude to George Washington Carver. Many over George Floyd. Many over LeBron James. Many over Martin Luther King. Not enough over George Washington Carver. And that's all for this video.